Okay, so if I run this, what we'll see is that everything compiles, but the screen remains empty. Only when I scroll, the content appears. So let's put a breakpoint in here and see what's actually going wrong. Yeah, I hear somebody saying it already. This is not on the main thread. It's actually on thread number 5, which is the thread that the NSURL session called back on, and we never went to the main thread, so that's why it breaks down. So what would be great if there's a way to register this callback and at the same time say where you want this callback to be called. So we need to create a concept of a place or a thing where you can execute stuff. So let's call that an execution context. And in the good old Objective-C days, you would probably create a protocol which has a method execute, and then you'll create categories on stuff to make sure that to implement those the execute method for several objects. But I think in Swift we can do a little bit better. So let's just create a type alias, execution context, which we will define as a function that takes a closure and then executes it. And what we can do now is, well, for example, would be really nice is to have every Grand Central Dispatch queue as an execution context. So I'm going to create an extension on dispatch QT like this. I'm going to give it a computed property called context of type execution context. It's going to return a block that takes a task, and this task is then executed asynchronously on that queue. No semicolons. So this basically gives every dispatch queue an execution context. So one context that might be very useful is the main execution context, which is actually as simple as getting the main queue and then its context. Really nice. And the immediate execution context. Immediate, thank you. The immediate execution context just executes the task that it gets without switching threads, etc. Okay, so now let's add this context into the async. So for every callback that we register, we want to be able to specify the context, the execution context. Like this, and also in the implementation. By default, we'll give it the immediate execution context. So now we need a way to encode, to combine this context and this callback. And we could store an additional array with context and then mix them and match them, but that's going to be difficult. So instead, let's create a wrapped callback, which is a callback. And what it will do, it will actually go into the context and execute the original callback, the one that we get passed as parameter, with the result that it gets passed transparently, like this, without the capital C. So this, and then we'll use this wrapped callback. So if there is already a result in, we will immediately call the wrapped callback.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the K makes it better. And otherwise we will append the wrapped callback, like this. So now if you go to the view controller, and we say that this uncomplete block should be called on the main execution context, and we run the app, we will see that the bug has been fixed.
Cool.